Hello, good evening, and welcome to Monkeys with Fire. How is everybody doing tonight? Hope you're all well. So then, we are continuing our week of content from the Forbidden Lands from Free League Publishing, and this evening we're going to be taking a look at the Book of Beasts. 28 new monsters. New rules for traps, rare tomes and alchemy, plus rules of solo play. This is what the Book of Beasts provides to Forbidden Lands. Of course, our thanks to Free League Publishing for providing a copy of the Book of Beasts for us to take a look at this evening. Typically, we've put up the spoiler warning, don't we, when we may touch upon content that players might not want to see in advance. And I think with the Book of Beasts, maybe the entire book might fall into this category, because one of the beautiful aspects of Forbidden Lands is, of course, not quite knowing what you are up against and having the surprise of what your encounter might be. So maybe join us for a couple of spoilers and then possibly tap out so that you do not ruin your future games. Alright, that being said, let's jump to the table and take a look. So, here we are, the Book of Beasts for Forbidden Lands. Let's read the text at the back here. By the Nightwalker, get up! These beasts are mere chickens. Shield Maiden Amanda pulled her sword from the dragon spawn and wiped the steel on the merchant's fur collar as he lay there. Look at that! You're finally baptized, she grinned and looked at her companion's soiled face. What a great intro. A Bestiary you can play. This monster manual for the multiple award-winning Forbidden Lands retro fantasy survival RPG is beautifully illustrated and filled to the brim with murderous monsters and lethal encounters. The contents also include rules for traps, rare tomes and alchemy, as well as a system for playing Forbidden Lands solo. That's nice and concise. Good evening, Roger. Welcome. We're literally just getting started with the Book of Beasts for Forbidden Lands. So, straight away, we have the hardback book. It has the faux leather cover with the gold leaf design on it, which you will be familiar with if you do have, of course, the Player's Guide and the Games Master's Guide for Forbidden Lands. So this works and fits in nicely with the other two books. And as we have become accustomed with books from Free League Publishing, the quality is exceptional throughout. It is worth pointing out for this particular game, we have these wonderful matte finished pages, so there is no glare, which I very much appreciate. The font is very easy and clear to read. And of course, we'll take great delight in exploring the many creatures that are within. But as you can see already, the artwork is phenomenal. Alright, let's jump on in. And what do we have here in this inner cover? It looks like the bones of a long dead dragon, doesn't it? With various warriors strewn around. We have treasure. Was this the dragon's treasure that these warriors were trying to take hold of? This is really nice. Oh look, there's a ring. There's a ring on the claw there. Was this one of the ring bearers we were not aware of? I like this. That's a nice piece of artwork. We have our credits page. And then we go on into the content, where essentially we jump straight on in with the bestiary. Now, this enhances the creatures that were already listed within the Games Master's book. So, in fact, as we go through these books, we're finding that our list of creatures is getting bigger and bigger. We looked through last night the Bitter Reach campaign module. Go and check that out on the channel if you did not see it last night. And that added, I think it's about 8 ice-based monsters. This is adding quite a range that could be used in many of the different regions within the Forbidden Lands. But we do have another book tomorrow evening, and maybe that adds even more. We have a section on random encounters, which we do enjoy a lot. And then we have a section on additional Games Master tools and, as we pointed out, rules for solo play. I like this. So let's jump on in. Roger, you're saying you like the back cover artwork. Yes, it is. It's beautiful, isn't it? Okay, so using this book, the Games Master can use the beast described in this book in many different ways. Random encounter from Chapter 7 in the Games Master's Guide can be replaced with a random or purposely chosen monster from this book. Indeed. And we do have a random roll table just here. A D66 detailing all of the available monsters. Each monster in this book comes with a list of what an adventurer can learn about the beast with a successful lore roll. More successes grants additional and more significant insights. That's interesting. And then we have resources. Each description of a monster specifies what resources the adventurer can harvest from a vanquished monster. This is like Monster Hunter. This is great. And we have got a little bit more about Amanda from the back cover. So it pretty much, 2 pages of intro, we jump straight on in with our first beast, which is the amphibian. Look at the artwork here. Isn't that absolutely stunning? That is beautiful. Really like it. Amphibians are large, frog-like humanoids capable of breathing air as well as water. They are found in rivers, lakes and bays, but have a special fondness for deep waters. So we get a little bit of introduction. And then what we do is we get a random encounter. We get an event. And then we get some stats for the actual beast, along with if it has an actual special attack. Got a little bit of a roll table here. Elements on resources. And depending on a lore roll, depending on your lore roll, depending on how many successes, what type of information you can find out about the creature. And in fact, let's just make sure I'm getting this correct. Yes, random encounter suggesting which types of area, types of terrain this random encounter might happen, and then the event, what type of adventure site it might be. So this is cool. You pretty much just can slot any one of these beasts into your game. Nice and easily. I'm deliberately not going to focus in too much on each one of these because we don't want to ruin them, especially if we have any players still watching at this time. But that's this amoeba. Amoebas are primitive predators that feed on absorbing other creatures into their shapeless bodies. There's a little bit about... oh, it's kind of the gelatinous cube type of creature. Oh, wow. A basilisk. Basilisks are large, semi-intelligent reptiles with great predatory claws. They're exceptionally aggressive and feared killers with poisonous breath and a petrifying gaze. I do like these monster attack tables. I think we talked about it a little bit last night. Providing a different form of attack during the encounter kind of makes your encounters not becoming stale, the same attack happening over and over and over again. But look at this, strength 24. Oh, I need to look at the other ones now. That was the amoeba was strength 18, while the amphibian was only a 5. Let's find out which is the biggest and baddest of the monsters. Bogman. Bogmen are the greedy and vengeful ghosts of slaves, prisoners of war, and other unfortunate individuals who were buried alive in the wetlands as sacrifices to the gods. Again, beautiful artwork. And I like the graphic design, as we pointed out before. It keeps everything nice and clean. Very clear, easy for you to be able to read. The Dread Raptor. Ooh. Gatekeepers are extra-dimensional creatures who, for reasons unknown, have come to the Forbidden Lands. There are strong indications that they are demonic in origin, but that classification is complicated by their burning hatred for other demons. Like it. Giant spectres. Oh, we're into the giant territory, so this is, yeah, we're just going to move right past this. Don't want to see that. There's actually quite a bit on that particular... Yeah, don't like that. On that particular creature, there's quite a few pages. Why? Why would you do such a thing? Greater Golem. Strength 20. An imp. Imps are magical beings of unknown origins. Small humanoid creatures that move through the air on demon-like wings. An imp's only got a strength of 6. Oh, here we go. An iron dragon. Iron dragons are huge, wingless dragons that live deep underground. Unlike their cousins on the surface, they are no predators but feed on absorbing metals they extract from magma, crystals and rocks. The iron dragons hunger for these metals, which they use to strengthen their teeth, claws and scales. Ah, interesting. But how strong are they? Oh my goodness! Iron dragon with a strength of 60. Wow. That's quite something. Oh, Mara. The Mara is a magical being that haunts humanoid creatures in their sleep. Linked to anxious dreams and mental torment, they mainly manifest themselves in one of 2 forms. One appears spontaneously in the dream, normally in the guise of a demonic cat or a sexless corpse partially covered in fur. The other is summoned by dream sorcerers and can assume the form of just about anything. Oh. I don't like the sound of that. That feels a little bit like a creature from the Vassan role-playing game. Going into sort of Scandinavian mythology. A Maya drake. The Iron Dragon is still the top one with a strength of 60. A mummy. See, again, I like this depiction of the mummy. It's not the traditional, what we assume, the Egyptian sort of style. With the bandages and that, we actually have him full in armour here. So it feels a little bit like the dead men of Dunharrow. But I suppose there'll be multiple kind of... I suppose it's death rituals, isn't it? Strength of 24. A nature spirit. Nature spirits are partially immaterial, parasitic creatures that have developed a symbiotic relationship with human settlements in the Forbidden Lands. They feed on the vitality of physical life forms, plants and small animals, as well as intelligent creatures. So again, everything, we have an encounter, we have, in fact actually this one gave us a couple of encounters. Random encounter, Queen of the Crossroads, random encounter, Bloody Harvest. So I guess it depends on the actual monster. We'll determine... Ah, here we go. Now we have an event. Yeah, so it's going to depend on each monster. Oh, let's have a look at this one. The Rat King. Oh, here we go. Rat Kings are demonic creatures sent by, oh gosh, Pox Yersinia, a demon lord associated with death and decay, who for hundreds of years has fought to enter the world through the Demon Gate in Shadowgate Pass. Let's see. Resources. The Rat King's bone flute was created by a mighty demon lord and makes its bearer immune to demonic diseases, demonic magic and other non-physical attacks from lesser demonic entities. So you could potentially acquire one of those if you're able to defeat the Rat King. Wasn't the Rat King featured in Stranger Things? The Rat Horde? When all the rats come together? Shapeshifters. So if you manage to get 3 successes, in their original form, shapeshifters are gelatinous beings and always leave a glittering trail of mottled grey slime, which is a sure warning sign to the trained eye. Oh, that's cool. So actually, your players could roll the dice. In fact, so here we go. If you get 1 success, then you'd impart the knowledge of shapeshifter. So, oh, you'd have to... This is for the GM, isn't it? The GM would have to craft a little bit of story to work on into the situation. So, 1 success is telling us that they're treacherous predators that can assume the shape of a creature it devours. So maybe what you do... Ooh, how would you do this? Maybe we would do it so that you've encountered the creature, you don't know what the creature is, you do the lore roll, you get 1 success. Maybe one of the adventurers happens to see, dotted around the clearing, the bones and fur of creatures, to which, of course, this shapeshifter looks like that, and it's like, oh, hang on a second. There's something there because we've got all these devoured sort of remains. Shapeshifters have difficulty mimicking humanoid languages and often give themselves away with their attempts at intelligent communication. That could be interesting. That's actually quite a hard one, isn't it? Let's see if we can pick another one. Maybe does it work with the description? Let's find something. I want to find a big oh, here we go. Well, I've got no idea what that is. A tupliac? A tupliac? Tupliacs are composed of merged body parts from corpses and carcasses, both intelligent and unintelligent in origin, raised from the dead by a necromancer. Tupliacs are used as executioners and assassins, and the creature's existence is always bound to the completion of a specific task. Since tuplicates are an affront to life itself, and their deaths are always pleasing to the gods, it is possible to extract a life-giving elixir from each defeated specimen. Wow, okay. So the third one, you could definitely put that in as if the character had read some kind of tome and they recall that information. I think the first one is that you get a better description of it, and that is what would indicate it to be a tupliac. Oh gosh, tupliac. Why do they pick names that I have difficulty with? A twisted ent. Twisted ents are demonic tree creatures that have heeded the wicked call of demons. They were elves once, but turned into trees to protect the mysteries of life and nature. I like ents. Undead dragon. 48. So the iron dragon is still the toughest of the creatures. Water troll. An adventurer with a tanner talent can craft leather armor with an armor rating of 4 from the tough and scaly skin of a water troll. Will-o'-the-wisp. Wolf shadow. This is a great addition. Alright, so actually there is a lot there and they are very varied. Artwork throughout is absolutely gorgeous. I do like this. This is actually a really nice piece. What do you think, Roger? Do you like these beasts? Yep. I think these are wonderful. So, we get to the end of the bestiary part, but then we move on to the random encounters, and again, players of Forbidden Lands and GMs will be very, very familiar with these encounters. So this chapter contains 36 new random encounters that the adventurers might come upon on their travels in Ravenland. With minor adjustments, they can also be used elsewhere. So I think we looked through 40 encounters that were designed for the Bitter Reach last night. We now get an additional 36 on top of, I think it's another 30 or so in the core game. So you've just got plenty, and each of these encounters has a little bit of story and then a little bit of game mechanics to it, depending on the nature of the encounter. And do some of these actually use the creatures that we have discovered? Oh, here we go. A dwarven runestone. A large rock carved with runes protrudes from the ground on a nearby hilltop. The runes are coloured in shades of red and encircled by ornate loops that look a lot like dragon tails. These are dwarven runes and can be read by someone with a successful lore roll. Tyrmir, son of Grundhir, lord of the great hall of the mountain fall, raised this monument so that the world should forever fear and admire his manful slaughter of the spawn of rust in the Great War. The runestone is a memorial from the First Alder War, and the spawn of rust scorned in the text is Ferael Terra Malda's Alanda army. Dwarven adventurers who stay here for one turn have all their attributes restored to full if they have sustained any kind of damage. The effect only applies once. Cool. Roger, you're saying that yes, the creature artwork is fantastic. Indeed it is. So we got plenty of encounters here. Okay, good selection. Again, we won't go into too much. Don't want to ruin them. Games Master Tools. This chapter covers a range of locations, rules, and other things that can be used to spice up your campaign. Some of it will affect what skills and talents the players choose for their characters, so it's best to include the players in on the discussion on which rules should be added. Several of the tools are alternative to things that already exist in the Games Master's Guide, but these can be used instead. Okay, so it's like a bit of an update. What do we have? Traps. It's a trap! Nets and poison darts and crushing boulders and acid showers. We got some roll tables on books and ballads and grimoires. Oh wow, there's actually quite a lot. So it's a ballad, a manual, a grimoire. This is a D666. Okay. Easy Little Dwarfling, which is a lullaby. How does this work? Adventurers can come across books on their travels, and examples of such sources of knowledge and power are presented below. First roll to see what type of book is found and what specific book it is. Roll D6 if the book is rare, and add 2 to the roll if the book is unique. Reading a rare or unique book requires a quarter day of studies and a wits roll. On a success, the adventurer increases a skill level or talent rank by 1 step. Okay. I'm not quite sure the Easy Little Dwarfling is going to help. Ah, I see. I get it. So basically, it's going to increase lightning fast. So you need to get a 111 to 115. And this is a ballad. But then what we have, do we have... Yes, we have manuals and we have grimoires. That's cool. So our manuals can increase our might and our endurance and our sleight of hand. Yeah, so the ballads all increase your talents. Of course, if they are appropriate to the profession that you had chosen. Okay, that's cool. I like it. Journeys. In this section you'll find random tables that can add more life and detail to an adventurer's journey in the Ravenland and elsewhere. So what do we have? Locations. Nature of location. Plains, forest, dark forests. So it's just adding a little bit of additional narrative. A little bit more description. So we're in a forest and the birds are chirping and the bumblebees buzzing. Or it could be that tall, straight tree trunks and waist-high ferns on the ground. Oh, just a little bit extra. For all the major location types. And then we get some description for camps. again on the various terrain types. And some weather. Okay, well we do like our roll tables, don't we? So we're getting plenty here. Additional rules for strongholds. This is something I do want to sit down and spend a little bit of time creating. I want to create a stronghold for my character. We got a new talent, alchemist. We have, okay, within the potions and poisons, and a new function, laboratory. Tables on poisons. Table on artifacts. So this is enhancing. Rogue is saying tables are good. Indeed they are, aren't they? I got to admit, I do like tables. I think they're a lot of fun. It's amazing just how much can be crammed into a couple of lines. But I also, I like the fact of that you can't write too much. You've got to be really concise, haven't you? Just enough to give the games master something to think about and something for them to build upon with their players. And so right at the end, we have the rules for solo play. So these rules are a set of guidelines to help you play Forbidden Lands without a games master. While these rules are written assuming you'll be playing alone, they can be used as is with one or more friends, as well as in a traditional GM-led game that focus on improvisation and zero prep play. So this is good. We can have companions, character creation and companions, giving us motivation to our companions, their professions, what talents they might have. Animal companions. And then just going through what you need to do before you get started, and then journeying. So this is kind of cool. This is a worthy addition to Forbidden Lands, because maybe sometimes you do want to play the game and you can't get your friends together at that time. So you can go it alone. And of course, the maps that you get for Forbidden Lands are double-sided. So maybe one side can be your group play, and the other side is for just you as the GM stroke player. You can actually have a game. Because poor GMs, they don't always get to play, do they? Good GMs always seem to GM. So we got oracles for various tables here. I like how it must be suggesting using an ordinary deck of cards here by the symbols. Combat and social interactions. Playing solo with others. That's not playing solo then, is it? And these were, I think these are the call-outs for the various creatures. I suppose you could print these out, couldn't you? And then hand them out to players. Is there anything else? So that's pretty much it. That brings us to the end of the book. Again, this is a worthy addition to Forbidden Lands. It adds a considerable number of wonderfully illustrated creatures. So bringing and adding new flavour. If you've played the game numerous times, then this could be a nice surprise for your players, so that they face something they have not encountered before. On top of that, we have an additional 30 odd random encounters that you could just throw on in as your players are exploring the Forbidden Lands. Which effectively, you kind of get to the point where with with this book and with the core book, you potentially could play an entire game and never have the same encounter. We then have some revisions and additions to the core rules, but only small ones, nothing particularly major. So it's not going to take long for these to be incorporated. If anything, the first part are a lot of flavour. It's mainly these rules for strongholds, isn't it? And then ultimately, a small section at the back on playing solo, which again is a worthwhile addition. I like this. I like it a lot. I did create a character to start my game of Forbidden Lands, and let's go to this one just here, because within the actual core set there is this little pamphlet which gives the more detailed character creation options, and I wanted to go through this to basically create my adventurer. So I created my Goblin Rogue, Zarkana, and used these tables to basically roll up a backstory to her, and I thought this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. So this is the table for the childhood for the goblins. I think she ended up being a wildling, didn't she? Your clan was a bunch of mavericks who didn't care for the old lineages and packs. You grew up wild and free. No one has ever been able to tell you what to do. And this, of course, affects your attributes and affects the types of skills that you might have. But then you move on from that to being able to roll for a profession. And then depending on your profession, I became a rogue. So I wanted to be a rider because I wanted the goblin to be a wolf rider, but it just didn't work out that way. And formative events for the rogue, I managed to achieve a successful heist, which again adds to the skills, adds to a talent. And then you start going through tables on how you met up with the other adventurers. That's the part where I stopped because I obviously need to have some other people to put together to make a team. So I thought this was great. I thought this was a lot of fun to work with. And I pretty much filled out everything I needed. Yeah, that's a little bit better, isn't it? So I put some notes in at the bottom there just to give me a reminder of the selections I made as I went through creating my character's backstory. But making a character in Forbidden Lands, really, really easy. And this was the harder method to go about doing so. And just finally, before we finish up, one other thing I can share with you. This is the Game Master screen, which is a 4-panel screen. Of course, you can't see it all here, but you get a good idea. Beautiful artwork on the outside. And then inside, we got tables for all the major rules that the GM might want to refer to. I always find looking at GM screens to be incredibly useful, because it shows you which areas of the book you want to read and double read, just to make sure that you are clear on the rules before you play. Good thing about Forbidden Lands is it's not overly complex game, so you can get into it quite easily. So there we go. That it does make it for great quick reference. So that's the Book of Beasts for Forbidden Lands. Tomorrow evening is our final journey, and we are going to be discovering the Blood March. So this is the most recent of the campaign modules that have been released for Forbidden Lands. Is a great blight across the land. So we have new magic, 16 new monsters. So yes, we have even more monsters, 27 new random encounters, and then 8 complete adventure sites. We looked at a few of the adventure sites, didn't we, through the Bitter Reach. So now we have some more to take a look at. So that is tomorrow night's show. Hopefully you can join me for that. If you enjoyed tonight's show, please do give it a like, and if you're not already doing so, please do subscribe to the channel. We've got some great games coming up in the coming weeks, ones that you guys can potentially get involved with as well. So hopefully we'll see you tomorrow evening for Forbidden Lands: The Blood March. Thank you for watching this evening, and until then, bye for now.